Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, the final movie inside the Crisis trilogy, the final film inside of the Tomorrowverse, the DC animated movie universe that started in 2020. Films attained it, and I'm going to trying to walk through this as much as I can. Me trying to list all these films. So we had Superman Man of Tomorrow, and then Justice League World War Two, and then you had the Long Halloween adaptation, and they split the book into two movies. So you had Batman the Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2, and then you have um, just Green Lantern Wear My Power, then Legion of Superheroes, then Justice League World, and then you had Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 and Part 2, and now we're on Part 3, and that is your 10 films. And with this finale, what I would say here is at the beginning I felt like for the first hour, I was like, this is good. This is basically just like filling up the blanks, figuring out what the main problem is. It's interesting with the Anti-Monitor being our villain, because like this is a version of the character that the Anti-Monitor is someone that they can't punch. And when you think of a superhero finale, you want something like Darkseid. You think something like Darkseid, like a Puppets War, like the last DC anime movie universe, which is what we literally call that universe, which is Apocalypse and Parademons. You think big battles and those type of stakes. But this time they decided to go his one threat, the Anti-Monitor, swaying the multiverse, wiping people's lives from resistance. Some versions of characters that we've been following since forever. But what they decided to go for is a more fill out all the have two stories going on. You have the Constantine Batman stuff, which is figure out what started the multiverse that will set up the last 20 minutes. And then you have the stuff dealing with other character development stuff. Mostly dealing with Superman, which makes sense because it's this whole universe starts with Superman. It started with Man of Tomorrow. So what we have here is a movie that we want to have this big cosmic scale, basically big cosmic scale story, but make it still character story first. Make it all about characters. Have basically just have scenes of people talking, because the big action sequence happens in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and that is Wonder Woman and two Supermen find dinosaurs in a city. And that's it. Oh, and there's a scene with the Bat family find Nazis who have the Bat that has the supervillains' weapons. So you have like a Nazi Bane and one German soldier with with Penguin's umbrella, and the other one has fear toxin from Scarecrow. You got another one holding Mr. Freeze's gun and all those things, and questioning why Harley has a mullet, all those things. What's with a mullet? But the thing is, I found that more appealing. I found that more interesting, because at the end of the day, it's all about characters. It's all about characters. And it's all basically Superman supportive characters, even characters like Lex, who's voiced by Corey Sproul's Yellow Jacket from the Marvel films. Great casting as Lex. I was like, ooh, that's Lex to the T. I was like, and I couldn't help but stop and be like, why isn't Lex in live action? Why isn't Yellow Jacket voicing playing Lex in live action? What is that? But because I'm like, he'll kick asses. Like, that's Lex to a T. That's like to a T to the thing. But it's all about relationships. It is about because it's literally a good chunk of this movie is people, you know, Clark is like, we need to save everyone, we need to save everyone, we need to save one. And then people have to go, but remember this. Remember this one time, this one situation. We're having another character saying to Clark, we need this, we need this, we need that. It is all pretty much Superman's relationships in this part. It's all about exploring those relationships. You know, with Lois, with Kara, definitely with Kara. With, you know, the cover of dealing with the cover of this movie. And that, which is not really a spoiler. I mean, basically, like, anytime you get a copy of, like, the comic of Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's the cover. That is literally, like, you're probably going to get the Alex Ross, like, painted version of Crisis as the cover. And Superman crying out the multiverse. I don't know, like, crying out the multiverse with Carl, you know, with Supergirl in his arms, dead in his arms. Yeah, that happened. Basically, they spoiled that moment for you. They also probably spoiled about Barry dying as well. But, this is, it is all about exploring those relationships, like, and even, like, them saying one line. It's like there's a line before Kara sacrificed herself. She says, "I died on Krypton. All I had was more time. And if it was with the Monitor or with you, I just was holding on to my death, and this is now it." And I couldn't help but go, oh, because I felt Clark's pain, or empathy of like wanting to save everyone when Lois pulls him aside and basically gives him the recap of, like, I remember this time that I remember I heard a story about a scientist who wanted to save his world but couldn't, but did everything in his power to save one person, his son. And that is what the ending is. And it's all about those relationships. It's a relationship even about what Superman's relationship with Wonder Woman is. Because there's a version of, as it got established in part 1, that one of the Supermen that we follow has a relationship with Wonder Woman. And just simple, people, you know, die and Wizen and just like, hey, she's the only Justice League member around. You know, you guys can kind of relate a little bit. So it's all about that, and I cried. I didn't realize how myself was going to cry with Superman crying out to the multiverse. Him going, ah, that scream. I just like, it's just, so good. But the ending, it is kind of like Apocalypse War with the whole restarting the universe. But the thing is, how the story ends in Crisis is that you have Earth Prime. We have a new Earth. We restart. We make all the Earths into one Earth. So we don't have a multiverse anymore. There's this one left. And I thought the ending was whatever it is, the new universe, all we know, there's no more animated universes because of the new DCU with the stuff happening with Gunn and Safin and DC Studios and all the kind of stuff, and knowing we're going to get some animated stuff on that. I thought the ending felt satisfying. You know what I mean? It kind of felt like, hey, in the last 20 minutes we have handled a lot, and we had seen a lot of death. We have seen versions of characters that people have grew up with, like Super Friends, going completo. We have seen the DCAU, the OG DC animated universe, the Bruce Timm stuff, going vast to the assistants, which of course included the final performance of Kevin Conroy, who's known to be the offensive voice of Batman, and is my favorite Batman of all time, playing the character, because he passed away a couple of years ago, and it's a nice set off. I won't lie. If you were a little bit pissed about the Suicide Squad game and having evil Batman getting shot in the head by Harley was like a bit meh for you, or felt a bit, it didn't sit right for you, this would be a little bit more better. It's him find the Joker, and saying, like, if we're going to die, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Justice, doing what's right, and the most important of me, one more time for me being Batman. And I just went, God, that's good. That hit me in the feels. And he actually hit me in the feels even more too. Like, oh, Hawkgirl and Green Lantern, them saying goodbye, them basically looking at each other and saying I love you by just a look. And I was like, why? But it's really, I just thought it was. I thought, that's a good set. That is a better send off. But we said goodbye to these universes. We said goodbye to them, and it just felt, it felt kind of bittersweet. Now everyone's at peace. Now there's no more. Everyone did save the day. But it just wasn't the way that we normally would. And it's the point of things for the comics anyway. But I probably am bubbling on a lot, but yeah, I thought this was a decent center, a decent center for this universe. And anyway, comment below what you thought of this movie, the Tomorrowverse, the Crisis trilogy. This movie is a tickler. Comment below, let me know your thoughts.